Hey guys, so here is the start of the Unit 3 quiz. And we're going to be asked to convert 128 degrees into radians. Okay, so this is that 180 degrees and pi thing. So if I have degrees on top, I am going to put degrees on the bottom in the pi there. So we multiply across the top and we get 128 pi. And I forgot to show you, the degree symbols cancel. And we come up with 180. Now, with your calculators, when you type this in, don't put your pi because pi is considered irrational, and it will not simplify. So you just type the 128 over 80 in, and then at the end, just remember to put your pi. So 3 degrees is the same thing, so pi over 180. The degrees, oopsies, just cancel out, and I get 3 pi over 180. And let's see if we can reduce that. Oh, and we can. And we get 37 pi over 20. Okay. Now 3, they give us radians, and they want degrees back. So times, so we're still doing the 180 and pi thing, but here I have pi on top, so this time pi goes on the bottom, and 180 here. So these cancel, and we get 7 times 180 is 1260, divide by 9, and we get 140 degrees. Okay. Number 4, 11 pi over 12. Again, we have pi on top, so we're going to put a pi on bottom and the 180 on top. So these cancel, and I get 1980. That was a good year. I was 6. So young. Don't judge. And we get 165 degrees. Okay. And that's all we have to do here. Oopsies, I have 2 number 4s. Oh well. Okay, now let's talk about these. Here, notice I don't give you any type of quadrant, then we can assume it is quadrant 1. Okay, if it doesn't tell you, we can make an assumption. So tangent is 24 over 7. AOH. So TOA, O, and A. We use our Pythagorean identities, and I'm going to use the one that has 7, 20, whoopsies, 24 and 25. Okay, so 24 and 7. Since I know 7 and a 24, this means my missing side is 25. Okay. And the question is, what is sine? So we know sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so sine is 24 over 25. And there you go. Okay. Number 5. Given cosine theta is 1 over 8. Now, I just sneaky, and I did this on the last test, and the question was, what is secant? Well, if cosine is 1 over 8, then what is secant? 8 over 1. So that one, before you jumped in, you could get away with not doing any work. Just make sure you read the questions before anything else. Okay. So number 6. They tell us tangent theta. Now they gave us here between 180 and 70. Okay. And that's going to be in quadrant 3. Now, I don't have a unit circle, but if you find on your unit circle, put one finger on 180 degrees. So here you're 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So if you put your finger on 180 and 270, that's how you'll determine it's right here in quadrant 3. A, O, H. Here's my O, here's my A. 5 and 12. Because we're in quadrant 3, both of these are negative. So remember, going by our Pythagorean triples, this is a 5, 12, 13. Because I know 5 and 12, this side's a 13. And please tell me you remember a hypotenuse is never negative. Okay. Now, the question that was asked here is, what is sine of 2 theta? And that formula is 2 sine theta cosine theta. So now we've got to come over here and find sine. And sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And cosine, which is A over H, is negative 5 over 13. Okay. So now we're just going to plug these numbers into this formula. This 2 right here is an always. And you see how these are fractions? Let's make this a fraction. Sine is negative 12 over 13. And then cosine is negative 5 over 13. I believe this is going to be positive 120. And 1 times 13 times 13 is 169. 120 divided by 169 cannot be reduced, and that's your final answer. Okay. Oi. Okay. Now let's do number 11. Here they tell us cosine is 21 over 29, and I'm going to go ahead, and we know this is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay. So 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So they tell us it's between 270 and 360, so we're right here in quadrant 4. So A, O, H. Remember, x-axis is always A. 21 and 29. So this is a 20, 21, 29 triangle. So since I know 21 and 29, my missing side is 20. But let's be careful because this is also a negative. Okay. They're asking for cosine of 2 theta. And this is going to be cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So we already have our cosine. It's 21 over 29 squared minus, now I need to come up with sine. And sine is going to be negative 20 over 29. Okay. So what's 21 times 21? 441 over 29 squared is 841. Please be aware, this is always going to be a minus. That is never going to change because a negative 20 times a negative 20, and I forgot my squared. So negative 20 squared is just a positive 400. Okay, and 29 squared is 841. If you do not have a common denominator at this point, you have made a big boo-boo. Okay, so here I get 41 over 841, and I don't believe either of these are reducible. So that is it for that one, and I will see you back for the last half of the review. Bye! I'm, oopsies!